Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is early footage of TFT Set 11, Inkborn Fables. This is taken from the first day of testing on the public beta environment, the first day that this was opened up to everyone else. You might notice I have a different Feather Knight here. This is one I do not own on my main account, but it's one of the Inkborn Feather Knights, so it seemed appropriate for this game. And I'm actually queued for a double-up game on the PBE environment. Playing with me here is Headwinder. We do not know what we're doing because this is the first day of the set on PBE, and we're going to do our best to try and figure out some team compositions here, but we're also going to try to just talk about the gameplay in general for set 11. Overall, I don't think that this set is too different from what we see. The biggest thing, of course, is with set 10 coming to an end, the headliner mechanic will no longer be in place. So no more headliners, no more return of the chosen unit from set 4. Instead, it's back to kind of a little bit more standard version of gameplay for Teamfight Tactics. And the replacement are encounters. Yes, encounters, places where some kind of random TFT champion shows up and gives you some kind of unique effect. There's supposed to be about 80 of these throughout the set, but as of right now, a lot of them are still not implemented yet. So we're only going to see a couple of them. And in fact, there's one of them that's popping up in every single game because it's bugged, which is not intended. There's also quite a few bugs associated with double up mode on the PBE, at least on this particular day. So hopefully they'll get cleared up relatively soon. Now, here in set 11, the big thing is everything has kind of like this calligraphy style from like traditional East Asian artwork. It's very pretty. I like the aesthetics of this set. The big downside is the units all look the same. And I had this reaction when I talked about the science fiction set, set 3. That was one of my complaints about it, was that everything kind of looked the same. And that is definitely the case in this set as well. Again, I'm sure that I will get used to this over time, but like these units really look the same. Again, Tahm Kench and Bard. I have a Tahm Kench up front. Tahm Kench is a bruiser. He's a frontliner. I also have a Cho'Gath. And then I have a Bard in the backline. But like the Tahm Kench and the Bard really look a lot alike. Even though one is like a backline carry and one is a tank. So I don't know. I'm sure I'll get used to the artwork eventually. But Jesus, everything looks the same right now. All right. So new set does mean we have new augments. And it turns out I'm going to take this one Epoch. Now and at the start of every stage, gain 10 XP and 3 free rerolls. The early word is that this is extremely overpowered. And I have to say, it did feel very, very strong in this game as well. So getting 10 XP and 3 free rolls at the start of every single stage. Now, that is every stage, not after every single round. It's a sort of every stage, but it's still really good. I honestly should have just leveled to 5 here. Yeah, and you can see I do eventually level to 5 and realize, okay, it was only 4 more XP to get to level 5. I might as well use my free rerolls on level 5. So, like, I'm getting free reroll. I get 4 free rerolls on level 5. Not only am I a level up on everyone in the lobby, I then get 4 free rerolls to get more expensive units. Like, I already had an Ash pop up in my store. That's a 4-cost unit. Already had that popping up in my store. I can't even use it, really. And, as I said, that part of the problem is you do have to use these on the first round. They do go away after that round's over, but like I definitely should use my last free reroll here. Part of it is we had not played any games of this before, and we were still pretty overwhelmed with the beginning of the set. But yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is going to get nerfed because this is insanely strong for a gold augment. It honestly feels like it would be decent as a prismatic augment, but they have it as a gold augment in this patch. So yeah. That did not feel particularly balanced. I actually do lose the round anyway, somewhat surprisingly, even though my board is level 5 to their level 4. Anyway, so in this particular game, we're going to be exploring some of the new traits. One of the traits that I'm going to explore, and the main one I'm going to explore in this game is Mythic. This is one of the big vertical traits. As you see me send a Caitlyn over to Headwinder, which I believe makes Kate 2-star for his board when he has a chance to pick that up. But anyway, as I said, the trait I'm going to be playing in this game is Mythic, and this is basically just the Warlord trait come back again from set 4. Also very similar to Noxus from set 9. What this trait does is it gives you additional health, attack damage, and ability power. Yeah. Mythic champions gain health, ability power, and attack damage, and then after 4-player combats, the bonus increases by 50%. The technical term is they become epic and increase the bonus by 50%. So, like I said, very similar to Noxus trait, although Noxus was based on defeating other enemy boards to get the stacking bonus, but more similar to the Warlord bonus. The difference is Warlord, you would get, I think, a 10% bonus each round for 5 rounds that you played the units. Mythic trait, nothing happens until they've been on the board for 4 rounds. They actually even have the same graphic as the old Warlord trait, or a very similar graphic. Okay, so here's our first encounter. We have an encounter with Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix causes XP to cost 3 gold instead of 4 gold for the next 3 rounds. So a lot of the encounters are going to look like this. You're going to have things that are kind of along those lines. So right now, instead of paying 4 gold to level, it's 3 gold to level. So Kha'Zix popping up right now is not going to be terribly impactful. This is not a point in time in the game where a lot of people are looking to level. It's just not like stage 2-3 is not where people are typically dumping a lot of money into leveling, but this could be pretty important if he pops up at like another point in time in the game. So as I said, a lot of encounters like this, they're going to do all different kinds of things, and we don't even know what most of them do yet because most of them haven't even been implemented yet. So people are definitely testing these, exploring these, trying to figure out what they do. I think it's an okay concept. I do think that this is not as interesting of a concept as the headliner or chosen mechanic that we had. I think it's a little bit gimmicky, but it's probably good enough to get some content worth for a couple of months. Overall, I think that this set is probably not going to have as much focus on it as set 10. Set 10 was like the big showstopper set. I think this one's a little bit more of a time filler set, but hopefully it'll still prove to be relatively balanced. I guess we'll have to wait and find out. Now, I am looking to try and get a tier here. I mean, I would have taken the spatula. I would have just straight up taken the spatula if it had been there. But of course, it was not there. Someone else went ahead and grabbed it. I wanted the tier because the tier will allow me to make a mythic emblem. The formula is tier plus spatula. So this is one of the craftable emblems. We did get the spatula portal. And yes, we are back to having spatulas and emblems be relatively common again. They were very rare all throughout set 10, but now they're back to being common. Now you can get them from augments again. They kind of had to make them super rare because otherwise the headliner mechanic really wouldn't have worked. So remember, the XP is cheaper right now. It's only 12 gold to level. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make the tempo play here. I'm just going to look to go ahead and level because that'll allow me to put in Bard. And then that gets me up to 5 Mythic, which I feel like is going to be pretty strong right now. 16% additional health, and then, 20% AD and AP. It's like I said, I think that's going to be very strong for this early point in time in the game. So I'm kind of gambling that I can go on a win streak here. Remember, that bonus does increase by 50% after 4 player combats, and I think a lot of the Mythic units are starting to get that bonus. So that would take them to 24% extra health, 30% more of AD and AP. That's a lot of health for this early in the game. Yeah, I think most of the units have almost gotten that bonus stacked up. And then I have turned Zoe into a mythic unit. She is not normally a mythic unit, but she is another Arcanist, and so that's going to allow me to get some damage going in terms of magic damage. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to win this round on Headwinder's board. He got reinforced on, and even though I came in as well, he kind of had 2 full boards over there. But by the way, another Bard, another Zoe, that's kind of nice. Now, my economy is horrendous right now because I dumped all that gold into leveling. But yeah, and then I actually get sent another Bard by Headwinder, so I actually have Bard 2-star right now. Bard is a 3-cost unit, so to have a 2-star 3-cost, who, by the way, already has the Mythic, the epic version of the Mythic bonus. It's fully stacked up, and he's got Mythic 5 in. I mean, that's a pretty strong unit for this stage in the game, even though he has no items on him. I'm not exactly sure what Bard's role is going to be. Let me just go ahead and cover his trait. I do not actually end up playing through the Bard in this game to any great extent. Hold on. Here he is. He has Mythic, and Trick Shot is his other trait. Trick Shot is basically the Deadeye... No, not Deadeye trait. What was it? It's your abilities ricochet and deal additional damage. What was the trait that we had this trait in a past set, but I can't remember what the title was. I was thinking of the Deadeye trait, but it's not actually that from set 9. Anyway, Bard's ability is Meep Meep. For the next 6 seconds, attacks instead throw 2 Meeps each, dealing physical damage and magic damage. So he deals a mixture of physical and magic damage. It's pretty interesting. Probably stuff like Hand of Justice would be pretty good on him. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure how you would itemize him. I guess we'll have to find out. It does seem that he is, he's not a support unit, though. He's a carry unit in this set, so that's kind of interesting. Bard's usually played as he's usually been designed as a support unit, but not in this one. Anyway, Zoe is an Arcanist, and she is going to be holding units for what I believe is probably going to be the main carry of a Mythic comp, and that is the 4-cost unit in a Mythic comp, who is Lilia. Unlike in set 10, where she was a weak early game frontline tank, in this game she's actually a carry. She has Mythic and Invoker traits, and the Invoker trait is back from previous sets. Basically, she hurls an orb at targets, and it deals damage, basically. So yeah, she's basically the carry of this comp, unless you can hit Hui, who's a 5-cost unit. There's quite a few tanks in this setup, but in this Mythic board, so you can actually kind of build your frontline in a number of different ways. There seems to be, by the way, there's 2-star Zoe, so I'm definitely high-rolling a bit in this game as they get the send back. And by the way, now I'm going to get my free rerolls again. I get another four free rerolls, plus I got 10 additional XP, which was badly needed because I was so... I was in such a weak position on economy, so I don't find a ton. I just find another Nico. It would have been nice to go to level 7 and use my free rerolls there, but I just did not have enough gold to do that. So what I was doing right now was I decided to, I wanted to look to see what itemization I was going to put on Lilia. So I actually had to tab out of the game. I was like, what is Lilia's mana cost? Does she have like a high mana cost, a low mana cost? I need to know because I need to know what items I'm going to make here. And I'm going to put them on Zoe for the time being. So I looked it up. Lilia's mana cost is relatively low. She has 50 for her mana cost. So blue buff is probably pretty good on her. But I'm the 50 mana is a low enough mana cost that I'm going to feel comfortable making a Gnasher's Tooth because it'll actually get a decent amount of use because she'll be casting a lot. And I'm actually going to end up making Gunblade plus Gnasher's Tooth. The good news is those are also pretty good items on Zoe, who has similar mana cost. All right, now here's another encounter. We run into Sivir, and the net effect is everybody moves super fast. So this has no gameplay effect. It's just for the rest of the game, we're all going to move super fast, like we have a Metabolic Accelerator from some of the past sets. So again, some of the encounters are a little bit more impactful than others. This one's not terribly impactful. It just means that we're all going to move fast for the rest of the game. Anyway, we have a silver augment here, so I'm looking at these different options, and I was like, I'm going to take Exiles. I actually think that there's good synergy here between the Exiles trait, or the Exiles augment, and my Mythic trait. Mythic trait gives my units extra health, and Exiles is going to give them a shield based on how much health they have, as long as they're not standing next to anyone at the start of combat. So I do think that there's some good synergy here. I also find a Morgana in the store. I'm going to pick this up because Headwinder is playing a Ghostly board, and this is one of the main frontline units for a Ghostly board. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. I cannot send it to him until the stage transfers over. Because it's a 4-cost unit, I can't send it until it's stage 4, but I will go ahead and hold. I also need to move that Nico. I am not getting the Exiles shield on Nico or Tom Kench because they're standing next to each other, so that's a bit of a waste. I definitely need to do that, but for a silver augment to get some additional shielding at the start of every battle, that seems pretty good, and hopefully Zoe is just going to be able to carry the damage load for the time being because she is holding items for a future Lilia. And these items seem like they're pretty decent on her as well. Again, I do not know what the best in-slot items are, but I think that Gunblade plus Gnasher's Tooth is probably pretty good on the Zoe because she has low mana cost as well. She has 50 for her mana cost, so seems like she'll cast pretty frequently with this. Although I did hear people saying that they thought Zoe was not a very good unit in this set. But maybe she's not normally a good unit, and she becomes a better unit if you can slap the... whatchamacallit, if you can slap I mean, she does have Mythic 5 on her, which she doesn't normally have, so that might be coloring my impressions here a little bit. All right, so let's talk a little bit about frontline in this set. Now, I've been playing through Tom Kench, who is a bruiser. I tossed in Rek'Sai, who's also a bruiser, but then I find this Silas, who's a 4-cost bruiser. It looks like he's clearly a much better unit here. So Bruiser's one of the main frontline tank traits in this set. Bruiser trait grants health, as it has typically. This trait, of course, has been around in previous sets. This is exactly the same as it's been in other sets. Bruiser, your team gains 100 maximum health. Bruisers gain additional maximum health. Right now, Bruiser 2 is 20% additional health. So flat health for the whole team, and then Bruisers gain percentage-based scaling. There's a whole bunch of Bruisers. There's 7 of them in the set. If you can get a Bruiser emblem, you can play 8 Bruisers, which is supposed to be pretty good. Other tank traits are Behemoth. I have 1 Behemoth in Cho'Gath, although he's the 1-cost Behemoth. They gain armor and magic resistance, so they just get armor and MR, and then when a Behemoth dies, the nearest Behemoth gains 50% more for 5 seconds. The third main tank trait is Warden. Wardens take less damage. They take percentage reduction of damage. It says Warden 2 is currently 15% less damage, Warden 4, 25%. And for the first 10 seconds of combat, they take an additional 12% less damage. So those seem to be the 3 main tank traits: Bruiser, Behemoth, and Warden, some combination of them. Certain comps are going to prefer certain types of frontline, And they all look like they have some high-cost options. By the way, here I was trying to figure out what to take. It's actually sometimes hard to get what you want. I decided to take this. I would have liked some more AP items, but I don't really get them. So I was like, all right, well, I can maybe make Dragon's Cloak on the Tahm Kench. And then this Sterix, I was like, I don't really have someone to put this on. You know, it's probably going to be pretty good on the... by the way, here I get another Tahm Kench. By the way, I've seen 0 Tahm Kenches the entire game. But I've gotten 2 of them from Headwinder. That's pretty interesting. By the way, another bug. This is supposed to be the gift round in Double Up. But you might have noticed there is no gift round popping up. And there's also no store. So I can still move units in and out of my team. I can still assign items. I can reposition. But because this is supposed to be a gift round and it's buggy right now in Double Up, no store, cannot buy or sell units. Cannot dump gold into leveling, because I actually was going, and then once the round starts, that actually changes. I was actually going to go ahead and level to 7 this round. I was going to put in Udyr, who would actually give me 2 traits. He would give me Behemoth and Umbral traits, so that would be kind of nice, just for a little bit additional front line. But in any case, yeah, wasn't able to access the store, which was pretty wild. But it did end up working out okay. Other trait I have in is Arcanist. This is back from previous sets as well. Gives ability power. Basically just gives ability power. Arcanist 2 is 20 AP to all allies, and then higher tiers give more to Arcanist and a lesser amount to the rest of the team. It's another big vertical scaling trait. If you like playing mages, this is basically what that trait is. All right. Good news is I was able to win that round anyway. Now I have access to the store again. So that's a thing. I'm supposed to have a gift round for Headwinder, by the way, but that's not popping up. It's supposed to be the other gift round, but at least I actually have access to the store now. So what I've gained now is Umbral trait. So I put Behemoth in, that's another frontline tank trait, but I've also gained Umbral trait. This is one of the more interesting new ones. Reminds me a little bit of KDA trait from the set that we just finished, set 10. Here's the description. Umbral, the moon illuminates hexes, shielding units placed in them at the start of combat. Umbral units in illuminated hexes execute low health enemies. So you get a shield at the start of the combat, and if a unit's standing in the hex and is an Umbral unit, then they execute low health enemies. By the way, this definitely is griefing my Exile's positioning, because the Umbral tiles are all right next to each other. Higher tiers of Umbral actually illuminate the entire board, so you can just stand anywhere. Yeah, it's an interesting effect. Like I said, similar to KDA in the sense that it puts kind of tiles down on the board that you need to then position around. So seems like it'll be fun. And well, we no longer have Zephyrs or Shrouds of Stillness, but it does mean the positioning traits that make it so you have to kind of screw over your positioning are also kind of interesting. Alrighty. So I'm on a big win streak. That's good. That has basically rescued my economy. Remember, I torched my economy to go to... And by the way, here's the gift round from Headwinder. He did not get the option to pick. So if he didn't get the option to pick, it just chooses the cheapest one, which I think is 2 3-cost units or something like that. It's not terrible because I do need gold, but I've largely managed to rescue my economy thanks to... going on the big win streak. So I kind of gambled when I leveled to 6 early that I'd be able to go on the big win streak, and fortunately that did happen. Again, it's PBE. Nobody really knows what they're doing, and you know, we're used to kind of playing at the very top of the ladder for Double Up. This is not the very top of the ladder, so yeah. Alrighty, so now I'm get another 10 free XP from my initial augment, and now I also get the chance to get those 4 free rerolls. So let's go to level 8, and then we'll use our free rerolls on level 8. Well, there's a Lilia. That's really nice. I definitely want to play that unit. And there's another Lilia. Okay. And there, I'm going to remember to send the Morgana over to Headwinder. Remember, he's playing a Ghostly board, and now I'll just look to make that transition into Lilia. I need to get another unit to put the Mythic Emblem on, so I'm not quite sure who to put that on. For right now, I'm going to put it on the Silas, and it turns out he's actually a pretty good user of this. Now I want to find one more Mythic unit to get up to 7 Mythic. I feel like I'm saying Mystic, but it's actually Mythic. But yeah, Silas turned out to be a pretty good user of this because it gives him he's a frontline tank, but he's kind of like a tank plus an off carry. He's kind of like a bruiser, but like also damage dealer. So he made good use of the extra health, and I think he also made good use of the extra AP and AD as well. So anyway, I did get to use my 4 free rerolls. That's pretty nice. Now I'm looking at the different options. Raid bosses, your strongest behemoth gains extra health. I actually played that the previous game, but it wasn't as interesting of a game. Now I'm looking through the different options here. I was like, okay, cybernetic bulk. This, again, I think synergizes pretty well with Mythic because Mythic gives percentage-based health scaling. So this is just going to give me more flat health. So that seems like it's going to be pretty nice overall. Anyway, I have a Kayn on my board. Kayn really does not fit my board at all, so I can definitely do better than that. I also think I can probably do better than the Yorick. So anyway, I hit 2-star Lilia incredibly easily this game, so that's kind of nice. And now I really just need one more Mythic unit of one kind. I still do not have Kog'Maw, by the way, so that's a unit I could look to play. I'll put in, no, Ash doesn't really fit this board. Porcelain Sniper, no, does not fit. All right, there's another Tom Kench, and there's another Bard. I put the Bard on the board, but I already have Bard on the board, so that doesn't really do anything. So that's not really helping. I also have 2 out of 3 Kayns, by the way, so I'll continue to hold there in case I can maybe send them over to Headwinder. In the meantime, though, let's go ahead and cover Lilia because, as I said, she's going to be my main carry, and I suspect she's going to be the main carry in a Mythic team composition just because the other high-cost Mythic units are basically tanks or support units. Unless you can hit Hui, but he's a 5-cost unit, so it's hard to play around that. Anyway, Lilia, Mythic and Invoker, so I want to get Invoker trait in. Her ability is called Eep. Hurl an orb towards the current target, dealing magic damage to the first enemy hit and adjacent enemies. It continues rolling as a smaller orb, dealing magic damage to enemies it hits. So this is her ability from League of Legends, where she tosses the orb on the ground and it just rolls and rolls and rolls. Every third cast launches a mega orb that deals magic damage and splits into 3 smaller orbs. So, as I said, she's basically a carry unit. By the way, there's a 2-star Yorick, so I might as well pick that up. And we're still looking for one more Mythic unit. Can I find one more? I'm looking for Nautilus, and then Grillo's, or not Grillo, wow. Grillo's not in this game. It's Headwinder I'm playing with. I always, for some reason, think when it's a double-up game, it's JDPL Grillo. I guess because we've just played so many games together. Anyway... Headwinder's on top of it. He sends me Nautilus, who is one of the other 4-cost Mythic unit. Nautilus is Mythic plus Warden, so I do not have Warden trait in at the moment. That is percentage-based damage reduction, but that gets me up to 7 Mystic. Meanwhile, over on Headwinder's board, he has actually managed to get 2 emblems for the Ghostly trait. Yeah, he has 2 emblems. Remember, he got one from the initial spatula, but then he got another spatula out of I think the 3rd minion round. So he was able to make double Ghostly spatulas, and now he has Ghostly 8 in, which is a chase trait that you're not going to see very often at all. We're gonna have a carousel round here. Then I'm gonna have to read the description of what what this trait actually does. But yeah, we actually get another carousel here. So by the way, there's a Hui. I would love to pick this up. Hui's the 5-cost unit in a Mythic composition. I would just replace one of my weaker units with him. Unfortunately, Hui's gonna get grabbed, so that's a bit disappointing. But c'est la vie. Instead, the other thing I would like to get would be some additional ability power. So I'll go ahead and grab the rod here. So there's kind of 2 things I can do with this. One is I could look to make an item on Lilia because she does deal magic damage. Alternately, I have this cloak on my bench. I can also make an ionic spark, which I think would be pretty good. Also, there's an Udyr in my shop, so that's pretty nice. I'll have to decide where I want to, what if I want to play this unit. And I have made 2-star Kayn, so as soon as the send comes back, I can just send Headwinder a 2-star Kayn. All right, let me go ahead and cover the Ghostly trait because that's the one Headwinder's playing through. This is probably one of the more unique traits created in this set. I don't think that anything quite like this has been in TFT before. Okay, Ghostly trait. Upon dealing or taking damage 7 times, Ghostly units send 2 specters to haunt nearby enemies and heal 3% max health every 2 seconds. Haunted enemies take bonus damage for each specter on them and pass the specters on death. This starts out at 6% per specter. At Ghostly 8, it's currently 30% per specter. Yeah, so every time his Headwinder's Ghostly units deal or take damage, after that happens 7 times, they send out these ghosts that deal, what is it? It's 30%? 30% extra bonus damage for each specter on them. Kind of a weird trait. The downside is it did feel like this was underpowered for a chase trait. Like, it didn't feel like this was actually that great on the board. Anyway, I'm going to continue trying to upgrade to better units, so I'm going to take out the Yorick and replace with Udyr. I do lose Umbral trait for this, but Umbral trait was kind of griefing my positioning anyway, so I'm not sad to drop this trait. And Udyr seems to be quite strong. He is the 5-cost Behemoth. So I'm getting Behemoth trait from Cho'Gath. That's kind of irrelevant. Cho'Gath gets extra armor and magic resistance. It's like whoop-de-doo. But Udyr is actually legitimately strong, so I'm highlighting what his ability does here. I honestly don't have a great sense for him, but he seems to be like tank plus crowd control. And he also seems to deal decent damage as well, but mostly he deals a lot. He has good crowd control, and it appears as though he can also heal in some of these fights too. So as a 5 cost, as you'd expect, he's a pretty good unit. So I'm definitely going to play him. Just standard TFT stuff, moving out of less expensive units into more expensive units over the course of the game, and trying to play as many legendaries as you can, as many of those 5 cost units. I also need to mention that they did decrease the cost to go to level 9 and also to level 10. Previously, it was 80 XP to get to level 9. They dropped it down to 72, and it used to be 84 XP to get from level 9 to level 10, and I believe they dropped that to 72 as well. It felt very noticeable in this game that it was easier to get to level 9 as compared to in the last set, as compared to set 10. Now, granted, we are being thrown off because this is PBE. Nobody knows what they're doing. I am on a 14-match win streak, so that's given me a tremendous amount of extra econ that I wouldn't normally have. But like, again, it does feel like it's very easy to get here. It's also because I'm getting 10 free XP at the start of every stage, is another big factor as well. So now I get 4 free rerolls yet again. I can pick up even more canes, but I can only send a 2-star cane here, so that's not going to be... I don't need even more canes than this. Better to leave them in the portal so that Headwinder can get them. So again, I'm still trying to find some more units. I might as well pick up extra Lilias. Maybe we can try to 3-star Lilia. It is a real possibility. I don't believe anyone else is playing Lilia. But I want another Invoker, so I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. There's another Udyr. And I'm just trying to fill out my board. I'd like to get a couple more of these units filled out. All right, so last chance to pick something. I am going to try to fill out a final item on Lilia. I don't think that a Static Shiv is her best item by any means, but I think it's okay here. There's some synergy with the Gnasher's Tooth because they both give attack speed. So I think that there is some synergy. And then that also allows me to make Ionic Spark with the rod plus the cloak. So I'm reasonably happy with these items. They are definitely not best in slot, but we don't really even know what best in slot is because the set just came out on the same day that we're playing this game. So we'll do the best that we can and go from there. I do think the Gunblade's pretty good on Lilia. Like right there, she took a lot of damage from something I didn't quite see. This was a reinforcing fight, so there were 4 boards fighting it out at once. And by the way, here is supposed to be a gift round again, but again, right now, gift rounds are bugged in double up, so I cannot access the shop or anything else. So I am going to make that Ionic Spark, and I think my board's pretty strong right now. I just want to continue trying to upgrade to legendaries. If I can find Hui, I'll take out one of the mythic units. I think it would actually be Bard, because I don't want to take out Cho'Gath, who's giving me Behemoth trait for Udyr. I don't want to take out Nautilus, he's a 4 cost. I don't want to take out Nico, because Nico's giving me Arcanist trait. Or she will give me Arcanist trait if I can find another unit. I guess I could take out Nico, but I think that she's decent. Nico, by the way, has Arcanist trait, but she's also a frontline tank. This is similar to what she was in set 3, where she was the main tank in a Star Guardians board. So if you're going to be playing just like vertical Arcanist, I suspect she's going to be the main tank. By the way, I have no idea why she has a Protector's Vow. I literally have no idea where this item came from. I definitely did not make that Protector's Vow, so I don't know if this is a bug or something, but in any case, it does look like my board's hanging in there. We are down to just one other team in the lobby, so it's going to be a duel between our team and their team. And hopefully keep this win streak going as long as possible. The good news is we do have a lot more health than them, so even if we just trade off round for round, like we'll end up winning because we have a lot more health than they do. All right, meanwhile over there, Headwinder's grabbed another Nautilus for me. For some reason, I haven't seen Nautilus in this game at all. I might have looked to play into Warden trait if I had seen Nautilus's, but since I just didn't see Nautilus, I have not been looking to play into that. Alrighty, so time for the other half of the gift round. This time, it's Headwinder's shop that's going to be bugged. I find an Azir here, so I would just replace Annie with Azir. They are both Invokers. This trait is back from previous sets. If you hadn't seen Invoker before, Invoker it gives mana to the whole team. Every 3 seconds, your units gain mana. At Invoker 2, it's +5 mana to all allies. It's a nice trait to play in the late game. You just give mana to your whole team. Higher tiers give additional mana to Invokers. So like Invoker 6 is 30 mana to Invokers, 15 mana to others. So if you're playing vertical Invokers, then you would definitely want to get up to the 6 Invokers. That was a trait in set 9, I believe, was Invokers. It was kind of a fun trait to play around. All right, in any case, though, I decided at this point, I was like, all right, it's only 72 XP to go to level 10. Why don't I just go to level 10? I think I can get there pretty easily, and then I'll just roll for more legendary units and just keep upgrading into more legendaries. So, like, I'm already halfway to level 10. And again, a lot of that is I'm on the 16 match winning streak. I also kept getting 10 XP every round from Epoch, which is, as I said, really feels like it's an overtuned augment. But yeah, we're almost to level 10, so we can be level 10 after stage 5 carousel. That feels incredibly early to have that happening. Now, I'm pretty sure I was going to win this round, but unfortunately Headwinder lost his round, so I'm going to get reinforced on, and I'm not going to beat both of these boards. So sadly, the Giga win streak is finally going to come to a close here after 16 rounds, but definitely gave me a ton of gold and has put us in excellent position to try to take this match. Okay, so time for another carousel here, and there's not a ton that I'm really looking for on this carousel, but I see that there's an emblem here for Dryad emblem. I was like, oh cool, let's take that. So I'm going to take that and... Wait, what? What? Yeah, apparently I missed. When you're moving really fast, you actually have to be careful with clicking. Somehow I ran right past that without picking it up. I end up with this Hurricane, which is like completely useless. By the way, I did get a set there off the carousel, who is the 5-cost Warden, but I don't know if I end up playing this unit or not. I can't remember if I ended up playing this one. I might as well stick him on the board. Now I'm running out of room. He puts Umbral trait back in play, so he's definitely worth playing. He also puts Warden trait in. I don't really have anyone to put this Hurricane on, though, so I was like, okay, sure, whatever. I think I just put it on Azir because that will give me the cybernetic bulk, cybernetic benefits. That'll give him an additional 300 health. It might be better just on a frontliner with that logic. So yeah, ended up getting Behemoth trait, or a Warden trait in and Umbral trait back in again. Again, this does grief my positioning with the Exiles augment, so I have some conflict here between those different things, but it still feels good to get this in. Just playing more 5-cost definitely feels good, and I mean, I just go ahead and roll here on level 10 and for more legendary 5-cost units and see what I can find. So we're going to win this round, and so we'll be able to knock a little bit more health out of this team. I do think that this is going to be the way to go in this set is because they made leveling cheaper, just going to level 9, level 10, playing more legendary units does feel like the way to go. And oh, here's Hui finally. So I was trying to figure out who comes out, and as I said before, I think it's Bard because all the other units are doing something. All the other mythic units I have on the board are already doing something. So one of the things that Hui has his ability is he has this artist ability. It's his unique trait. And the artist ability causes him to create duplicates of units, which is one of the more interesting things. So yeah, I used to have this absolutely massive tank line on here. Sadly, I'm wasting the Exiles ability, but whatever, is what it is. He will paint additional copies of those units, but it takes a while for him to do it. It's however many rounds the cost of the unit is. So like I wanted to make copies of Lilia. Lilia is a 4-cost unit, so it's going to take 4 rounds to make a copy of Lilia. Right now, this feels kind of underpowered. It doesn't actually feel that good. It's going to be hard for them to balance this. I was thinking it's a little bit reminiscent of Ornn from way back in set 4.5, where Ornn would forge artifact items for your team. In the sense that, like, in that set, if you could hit Ornn early, then he'd be super strong because you could get him to make multiple items for your team. But if you hit him late, he really wasn't that good. I think Hui might be like that as well. Like, if you hit an early 1% Hui on, like, 4-1 or something, it's going to be amazing because you have lots of time for him to print you additional copies of, like, expensive units. But I think it's going to be difficult to... I don't think he's going to be that useful if you get him later on in the game. Anyway, so once again, that was round I got reinforced on. I was not able to win. I do have the item remover, so one thing I definitely could think about doing would be popping some of these items off Tahm Kench and putting them on someone else. But Tom's been holding them pretty well, so I'm a little bit reluctant to do that. I think that if I can hit 2-star Nautilus, it would probably be worthwhile to make that swap, because Nautilus is a 4-cost as opposed to a 3-cost. Tom's a 3-cost. And in addition to that, by the way, here's my 4 free rerolls again, because it's the beginning of stage 6, so okay. And I might as well pick up more Morganas. And by the way, okay, I guess it's a fire sale on Hui's. That was relatively easy to hit 2-star Hui. And now I'm up to 6 Lilias. I was like, okay, let's see if we can hit Lilia 3-star. So I'll just go ahead and put her back there. And I'm still rolling. I don't think I'm going to be able to hit... I don't think I'm going to be able to hit 3-star Hui. Maybe I should have been grabbing these, but they are expensive to hold. And then we need to grab some kind of item here. I was like, you know what? Let's just put Redemption on a frontliner. And this is also going to give... I'm going to put it on Udyr, and then it's also going to give the Cybernetics benefit to Udyr, which feels like it's going to be pretty good. But I've basically 2-starred my whole board. The only thing I'm missing is Nautilus. Like, I'm still missing some of these. And then, by the way, I moved Lilia off the Hui artist portal. I don't know what effect that has, but I think I needed to keep her there because I don't think Hui is painting the unit now that I moved it off. I'm not exactly sure when that triggers. Meanwhile, over on Headwinder's board, he has, I think he has, he's getting relatively close to Morgana 3-star and Kane 3-star. I believe he has 6 Morgs and 5 Kanes, and I have 2 more Morgs over here, so if I can find 1 more Morgana, that would be Morgana 3-star on the next send. So as I said, we're pretty close to these. I'm also going to find Lysandra here, and I was like, ooh, I think Lysandra would be good. I think maybe I can take out the set. This would drop Umbral trait, but I'm not sure that Umbral's really doing that much for me. And see, I belatedly moved the Lilia back to the artist portal. By the way, even more Huis. The game really wants me to play the Hui, it seems like. So I was like, you know, if I can hit 2-star... I already have 2-star Udyr. I don't need more of them. There's another set. I'm just going to play whatever I hit. If I hit 2-star set, I'll play that. If I hit 2-star Lysandra, I'm going to play that, just based on whichever one I see. And there we go. There's the redemption for Udyr. So we'll either play 2-star set or 2-star Lysandra. I think Lysandra would be a little bit better here because I think my comp is a little has a little too much frontline, if anything. I actually think I could use a bit more damage. I'm a little low on damage, but I have like more tankiness than I actually need in this particular comp. But yeah, my frontline is pretty cranked. I have so many 2-star frontliners with the mythic benefits, and you know, Behemoth traits in, Bruiser's trait is in, Warden trait is in. I have all the tank traits in. I have all 3 tank traits in right now. So yeah, my frontline's pretty tanky. Alrighty, so I'm able to win that round. Again, Headwinder is still losing these rounds, which again is a sign that Ghostly feels like it's a little undertuned, because 8 Ghostly is supposed to be a chase trait. You need 2 emblems to make it, and he's still losing these rounds. So here's a bug in the current game. Kindred offers you 2 temporary items. Kindred always offers redemption in Giant Slayer, and Kindred shows up every single round. This is a bug. Kindred is not supposed to show up in every single game, and not supposed to offer the exact same 2 items in every game, but that is what's currently happening. So if until this gets fixed on PBE, you're going to be seeing a lot of Kindred. This encounter is not supposed to be this common, but it is. Alrighty, so yeah, now I've got 2 out of 3 Lysandras and 2 out of 3 sets. So again, just waiting to see what I can hit there. And I also have the send back up, so I was like, do you want me to send Morgana? Do you want me to send Kane? And we're just waiting. If I can hit 1 more Morgana, I can send for the 3-star Morg. Or if Headwinder hits 1 more Kane, I can send him for the 3-star Kane. And so he told me to pick up the Kane because, again, he is on 7 Kanes. If he can find 1 more, I can send it to him for the 3-star version. Kane is a 4-cost unit, so getting a 3-star 4-cost. 3-star Kane in an 8 Ghostly comp, you would think would just be an auto-win button, so yeah. Okay, so time for another carousel here. There's not all that much that I really want here. I was like, okay, maybe I could just put this death cap on Hui or something. So I'll go ahead and pick that up. Hui's actually been doing a decent amount of damage in this fight. Although again, it is 7 mythic plus 2-star Hui. So I'm gonna make another mistake here. So I go ahead and sell the set with the intention of playing Lysandra because I've got the death cap, but I actually don't put Lysandra on the board. I actually have Syndra on the board. Again, these units look so much alike, it's hard for me to tell which one is which. So I actually do hit the 2-star Lysandra, but it's on my bench. I thought it was on the board. I just totally missed that this was sitting on the bench. It's not going to end up mattering in this game, but yeah, I have it on my bench instead of on my board, so whoops. And then Headwinder did find another Kane, so I can send the Kane, and that is now a 3-star Kane on his board. So we're going to watch his board here. Yeah, here's the 3-star Kane, Ghostly plus Reaper. He has 8 Ghostly 3-star Kane. So you would think that this would just like wipe the board, but not actually so much. In fact, Kane did not really feel that strong in this fight, so yeah, you can see the Kane is, I mean, he's strong, but like for a 4-cost 3-star, this unit really wasn't doing that much. In fact, he almost dies right there. So yeah, Kane seems to be a little undertuned. Ghostly seems to be a little undertuned. It'll probably get buffed tomorrow and be stupid overpowered. But here on the first day of PBE, it did look a little bit weak. Anyway, we're able to win that round. I was able to win all the rounds except when I got reinforced on. It felt like Mythic was pretty strong in this particular build of PBE. But mostly we're just testing things out, trying to learn the units, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. It's not like you're playing PBE to try to like, I mean, it's fun to win the games, but you're not really playing to win. You're just trying to play to like basically learn the set. And I think that that's what we're able to do here. So overall, first impressions, looks like fun. I do like the art style. The units are pretty confusing right now, but looks like the traits are pretty well designed. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to have a good bit of fun with this set as well. Once the encounter bugs are fixed, it'll be better to get a better sense of how they're working. Anyway, though, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this early preview of the set. Until next time, take care, folks. I'll see you again soon.